G'day, this is Gary007 and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about Avorion 2.0. Now, currently, as it stands, the game is in beta at the moment and is undergoing testing. And this is one of the reasons why I haven't really put a video out, is because of that. There's really not much to talk about until the game gets properly released. So once that happens, I'll start playing the game. I haven't tested beta myself. I've sort of stayed away from it and watched from a distance and had a look at Reddit and the forums to see people's feedback. Now, people's feedback with the game so far has been overall negative, with a few positives with it. Now, it's interesting, the Avorion community themselves compared to other communities like World of Warcraft or World of Warships, the feedback is really constructive most of the time, giving points where they feel like the game is letting them down when playing the game. And what's happening is the developer, which you don't see very often, coming back with balancing changes. So the latest balancing changes is they've heard people's feedback on fighters, right? So fighters are a bit of a sore point. Now, the developers' thought process is that fighters should be, or carriers should be specialized, right? They want carriers to be specialized. In the current version of the game, if you want to call it Avorion 1.0, you could have a fighter carrier ship armed to the teeth, dreadlord type thing, and go around smashing pirates and Zotan and all the rest of it. You can do that in the current state of the game. There's no limitations to how much firepower really you can put on your ship. With 2.0, they want to limit that firepower. They want you to go, well, if you want to go carrier mode and you want to carry fighters, this is what it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you slot points. It's going to cost you the ability to be a hybrid. You need to be specialized as a carrier to carry lots of fighters and be specialized. And if you get to that point, you're going to be really, really good. It's going to be a huge payoff for you in the end. However, that's not the case at the moment in the game. It's not a payoff at all. There's no benefit, cost benefit. Developers come back and said, oh, well, you know, there's balancing changes in place. They're going to increase the damage of fighters by 33%. Fighter protection time reduced for materials lower than Avorion, depending on their tier. Uncommon Hydra fighter upgrades now give a boost to production speed. Legendary Hydra fighter upgrade now gives +4 slots. So they're coming back and they're hearing people's feedback and they're implementing it, and then players now again try again and see how they go. And this is really good to see from a developer, them making changes to the game as people have requested because they felt like it's not quite balanced, and there's been good feedback. And this is something you don't see a lot of these days from a community and a developer's standpoint. Now, it's not to say that from the community point of view we're always right with the changes that we demand or want in the game we desire, because at the end of the day it's not really our game, but sometimes you feel invested in that game enough to say, well, I'd like you to at least hear what I have to say on how to improve the game. Now, the developers taken a set of core values with Avorion 2.0 and said, this is what's going to happen. Basically, I want to slow the gameplay down. I want you to spend more time between each material tier, and I also want you to specialize when it comes to ship design. I want to lower the amount of firepower that you can take with you on that journey until you get to a certain point, and then you can let rip and do whatever you like. We want to improve the way captains are used in Avorion, which they have done. Again, I haven't played beta, but I can see a lot of feedback and I can see where this is going. Now, there's lots of improvements to happen over time, but it's good to see at least there's been a lot of feedback. Now, I'm not simping for the company at all, but when you go onto other forums, like game forums like World of Warcraft, all you see is negativity through and through, and it's so disappointing because every time people give feedback on a game, they feel like there's no community managers running a forum, they feel like their voices aren't heard, and the game seems to go in a direction that players don't like. Same with World of Warships. Now, I love playing World of Warships, but they've got a huge problem over there with communication. The World of Warships team are more interested in getting loot boxes out and not getting caught for their dodgy practices. I mean, There's a lot that goes on in the World of Warships community where there's just a huge disconnect, and you see this infighting. If you go over to the forums, and I think I've pointed this out on these different forums, I said, well, it's a shame that the community's like this, and people like, well, what community isn't? And I thought to myself, Avorion, and people are like, what's Avorion? And I'm like, well, that's the problem. Maybe there's just not enough people that play this game. When you go to the Avorion community, I mean, if you're new to the game, the Avorion community, by and large, are pretty relaxed and pretty helpful when it comes to things that you want to know or want to ask questions. It's very rarely, and I mean very rarely, I see someone flame up because they thought they were too lazy not to go Google search it or something like that. There's always feedback between the developer and the community, and it's always good to see that even if it's a small community, it's still a community, and it's far more enjoyable doing content for Avorion than it is doing World of Warcraft content when you get such negative feedback from such a huge game like that. With a game like this, at least if somebody gives me feedback, it's constructive, you know? You can do something with it. But with other communities, they give feedback and it's maybe semi-constructive, but then it goes down a dark turn of, oh, this game is shit type thing. But anyway, it's just my feelings and thoughts of Avorion 2.0 and what I'm seeing from a distance, that there is feedback happening, there is a feedback loop happening. I do hope they resolve a lot of these issues with Avorion 2.0. I'm saving myself for the game to be finally released so I can just go in there fresh. Like I've decided not to play the game. I haven't played the game for probably 4 or 5 months now, but that's good. It just sort of refreshes yourself. It gets you into the mood to playing the game. I don't want to really unwrap the wrapper of a present before Christmas, if you know what I mean. I want to go in and experience it new for myself when Avorion 2.0 finally drops. I am glad that there are people out there beta testing it, giving very constructive feedback on lots of points, and I hope you guys keep doing that so that we get a really good product at the end of the day. And yeah, that's all I got to say about Avorion so far. I know I haven't done a video for a while, but there's really not much to do a video on until 2.0 drops. So I am waiting in the wings, and I can't wait to get into the game. So anyway, thanks for listening to a knucklehead like me, and I will see you out in the galaxy. Okay then, bye.